There comes a moment when the unseen hand of God begins to rearrange everything on your behalf. You may not notice it at first, the silence before the shift, the stillness before the reveal, but then, all at once, everything that once seemed against you begins to turn in your favor. This is not random. This is divine timing. The seasons of being overlooked were not punishment, they were preparation. The world may have written you off, but heaven was writing your comeback. You were hidden, not forgotten. The silence was God's strategy to protect the seed before it sprouted. Those who doubted you only saw the surface. They didn't see the foundation being built within you. While they measured your worth by what they could see, God was measuring your readiness by what you believed in secret. You kept the vision alive when there was no proof. You walked by faith when there was no applause. You held the feeling of victory even in the face of contradiction, and that feeling became a decree in the unseen. Understand this. Divine favor is not earned. It is recognized. It activates the moment you align your inner world with the truth of who you are. When you declare, "I am favored," you are not hoping, you are remembering. You are reawakening to what heaven already decided about you before the beginning of time. And soon, what has been growing quietly within will burst into visible form. Doors that were shut will open effortlessly. Opportunities will chase you. Connections that seemed impossible will appear out of nowhere. The same voices that whispered doubt will speak your name in admiration. This is the season where God will vindicate you without you having to defend yourself. You won't have to prove your worth. The proof will be your transformation. Every delay will make sense, every rejection will reveal its purpose, and every setback will be seen as part of the divine choreography that led to this moment. The favor coming to your life will not be average, it will be unmistakable. The same people who questioned your faith will witness the evidence of it, and when they see it, they won't just see success. They'll see the fingerprint of God all over your story. So, stay expectant. Stay peaceful. Don't explain your process to those who doubted your promise. The revelation will speak for itself. What's about to happen in your life will make it undeniable that God's favor was always on you, even in the shadows. And when the unveiling comes, remember, it wasn't luck, it wasn't coincidence, it wasn't man's approval. It was the manifestation of divine favor finally catching up to the faith that never gave up. Your season of being questioned is over. Your season of being revealed has begun. And everyone who doubted you is about to see what faith, favor, and divine timing can do. Divine favor does not begin with what happens around you. It begins with what happens within you. Life mirrors the truths you have accepted about yourself. The outer world is simply the canvas upon which your inner convictions are painted. Many people chase blessings, hoping to find favor through effort, appearance, or opportunity, but true favor doesn't come through striving, it comes through awakening. The moment you shift your inner perception of who you are, the universe reorganizes itself to match that awareness. If you see yourself as struggling, you will attract experiences that confirm that identity. If you see yourself as favored, Doors begin to open, resources align, and situations move in your favor, often without explanation. Divine favor is not random. It's a reflection of consciousness. It is the natural result of believing deeply and quietly that you are already chosen, already supported, already guided by something greater than yourself. The world responds to that inner knowing like a seed responds to sunlight. It cannot help but grow. Everything begins as an invisible acceptance. Before a dream becomes real, before success manifests, before healing appears, there must first be an internal yes. That yes is your agreement with divine truth. It's the point where your inner conversation changes from will it happen to it is happening. That shift may seem subtle, but it's powerful enough to realign your entire reality. What you inwardly accept as true sets in motion unseen forces that work tirelessly to bring your outer world into harmony with your inner state. When you stop begging for favor and start assuming favor, your energy changes. You no longer look at life as something to conquer, but as something that's already working for you. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, expect differently. You stop trying to earn what you already possess. That is when divine favor becomes magnetic. It starts to seek you out. People who live in this awareness often seem lucky, but luck has nothing to do with it. They are simply aligned. They have tuned their inner frequency to the truth that they are loved, supported, and worthy of good things. This mindset draws circumstances that reflect it. The right people, the right timing, the right opportunities. What was once delayed suddenly arrives. What was once denied becomes available. The shift in consciousness is the key that unlocks what was always yours. When you realize that favor is not outside of you but within you, fear loses its power. You stop looking to others for validation and start looking within for confirmation. You understand that every blessing you desire is already in potential form, waiting for your acceptance. The moment you believe you are favored, life begins to agree. You do not need to strive, compete, or force your way into abundance. You need only awaken to the truth that divine favor is your natural state. It flows through you, not to you. And when you finally embrace that truth, the evidence of it will appear everywhere, not because you chased it, but because you became it. Every season of doubt that surrounded you was never meant to break you. It was designed to prepare you. The moments when others overlooked you, when they questioned your ability, when they dismissed your dreams, were not signs of rejection from heaven. They were signs of divine protection. You were being hidden, not forgotten. Every closed door, every misunderstanding, every delay was part of a higher orchestration meant to shape your inner strength, sharpen your vision, and make your unveiling undeniable. Those who doubted you could only see the surface, but heaven saw the seed. When others judged your potential by what was visible, the divine was cultivating what was invisible. You were being refined in silence while they were speaking loudly. You were being molded in secret so that when your moment came, no one could take credit for your rise. Every underestimation was actually a divine disguise, a way to keep you safe while you grew into your purpose. It's easy to feel discouraged when you're doubted. It's easy to question your calling when people don't see your worth. But remember, diamonds form under pressure, and remain hidden until their brilliance is revealed. Likewise, your hidden seasons were sacred. They built a depth in you that only time and faith could create. You learned to depend on the unseen, to walk by faith when applause was absent, to hold your conviction even when validation never came. That kind of strength can't be taught. It can only be lived. Those who dismissed you were unknowingly confirming your anointing. Every time someone underestimated you, it proved that what was on your life came from a higher source. If they had recognized your full potential, they might have tried to control it. So heaven kept you concealed, allowing their disbelief to protect your destiny. You were never meant to be understood by everyone. You were meant to be revealed at the appointed time. And when the time comes, the same people who doubted you will witness your transformation. They will see what you carried all along, the light that couldn't be hidden forever. It won't be about revenge or proving them wrong. It will be about divine timing, proving God right. The very voices that questioned your ability will have to acknowledge that something extraordinary was always upon you. You were chosen long before you were recognized. The doubt of others was merely the echo of their own limited vision. But divine favor doesn't need human approval. It only needs your faith. As you stayed steadfast, heaven took note. Every silent prayer, every hidden tear, every unseen act of perseverance was building the foundation for the moment you would be revealed. So don't resent the ones who doubted you. Thank them. Their disbelief became the backdrop against which your destiny will shine brighter. The doubted are the chosen because their strength was forged in the fire of misunderstanding. And when the unveiling comes, it will be clear. What God hides for a season, He reveals for a reason. There is a law woven into the fabric of existence, a divine law that ensures balance, justice, and restoration. It is the unseen current that moves through every circumstance, every delay, every disappointment, guiding all things toward their rightful end. This is the law of reversal. What was meant to harm you will serve you. What seemed to block you will bless you. And those who question your worth will one day witness your rise. It is not human revenge. It is divine order. You do not have to fight back, defend yourself, or prove your value to anyone. The universe is already programmed to correct imbalance. Every word spoken against you, every attempt to diminish your light, every season where you were overlooked, all of it becomes material for your elevation when divine law begins to move. The same soil that buries you becomes the ground that grows you. The same opposition that resisted you becomes the stage that reveals you. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. When people questioned you, they did not understand that their doubt was part of your design. They thought they were defining your limits, but they were only setting the contrast for your breakthrough. Divine law always brings balance. If you have endured unjust criticism, you will experience undeniable vindication. If you were sown in pain, you will be harvested in power. There is no effort wasted, no injustice unnoticed. Heaven keeps perfect records. And at the right time, every imbalance is reversed. You may not see it happening, but the shift is already underway. Life is rearranging itself to honor what is true about you, not what was said about you. The spiritual law of reversal operates silently, without announcement, until suddenly everything changes. The ones who questioned your path will see doors open for you that no man could have unlocked. The ones who labeled you unworthy will watch you step into blessings that cannot be explained by logic. That is divine justice, not fueled by pride, but by purpose. And the beauty of divine order is that it doesn't require your struggle. You don't have to retaliate, argue, or explain yourself. You simply have to stay aligned with truth, to keep your heart clean, your focus steady, and your faith anchored. The law will do the rest. Every time you chose peace over proving a point, you were aligning with power. Every time you released resentment and trusted timing, you were activating the reversal. So, when life seems unfair, remember, the unseen is working. Divine order never forgets. The story is still unfolding, and when the final scene appears, it will make sense why certain things had to fall apart first. Those who once stood above you will look up in awe as you rise, not through force, but through grace. The reversal will not be quiet. It will be a public demonstration of divine justice, because what comes from God cannot be denied, delayed, or destroyed. It can only be revealed right on time. Everything that manifests in your life begins first as an image within the mind. Imagination is not a daydream. It is the creative womb of reality. Every vision you hold with faith, every scene you feel as already accomplished, sends out a silent command to the unseen realm. What you vividly imagine and emotionally accept as true becomes the blueprint the divine uses to construct your outer world. God does not respond to effort, stress, or striving. He responds to belief. He moves through your inner acceptance, not your outer struggle. When you close your eyes and see yourself favored, blessed, and fulfilled, not as a wish but as a fact, you are creating the spiritual pattern for your future. The universe mirrors what you believe about yourself. If you imagine lack, you confirm it. If you imagine abundance, you summon it. You are always imagining something, consciously or unconsciously. The secret is to make your imagination serve you instead of enslaving you. Imagination is not fantasy, it is prophecy. The images you hold long enough and feel deeply enough must express themselves in form. When you emotionally inhabit the scene of your answered prayer, you shift your vibration into alignment with its fulfillment. You begin to think, speak, and act from that state of being, and because everything in creation responds to state, circumstances start rearranging themselves to match the inner image you've accepted. So many people pray for favor while still imagining failure. They ask for blessings while still picturing lack. They hope for open doors while secretly fearing rejection. That inner contradiction cancels the command. Divine favor cannot flow through a mind divided against itself. But when your inner vision and your emotional acceptance unite, creation begins to move. The feeling of already having it is the secret language of faith. It tells heaven, this is done. You don't need to see proof before believing. You need to believe before proof appears. The outer world always lags behind the inner vision. When you persist in seeing yourself as favored, regardless of present evidence, the unseen starts to obey your conviction. People, opportunities, and circumstances begin to show up seemingly out of nowhere, but they were never random. They were the inevitable expression of the image you held faithfully. Imagination gives you access to the realm where all things are possible. It lifts you out of limitation and into divine flow. Every time you see yourself as victorious, healed, or abundant, you are not escaping reality, you are shaping it. The world around you is pliable, responsive, and obedient to your inner picture. So stop fighting externally for what you can create internally. Favor doesn't come by force, it comes by faith. Imagine it, feel it, accept it, and it must appear. Because the moment you believe you already have it, you've activated the creative power of God within you. The outer world can only echo the image that first lived in your heart. Faith is not loud. It does not need to shout, prove, or demand. It is the quiet knowing that what has been promised already exists in the unseen, waiting for its appointed hour to appear. When you no longer feel the need to argue for your worth, when you stop trying to convince the world or even yourself that you are deserving, you have entered the realm of faith. Faith is rest, not inactivity, but inner stillness. It is the confident surrender that comes from knowing that divine order is already unfolding perfectly on your behalf. You see, doubt argues, fear defends, but faith simply rests. It does not chase, it attracts. It does not plead, it proclaims through silence. True faith is the invisible announcement that creation has already been completed. When you live in the feeling of fulfillment, when your heart has already accepted the reality of the answered prayer, you become a living declaration of divine certainty. Even without words, your energy speaks. Heaven hears it. The universe aligns with it. People sense it. Circumstances adjust to it. Faith is not about effort. It's about embodiment. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. When you inwardly become the person who already possesses the thing you desire, life must mirror that identity. It has no choice. The outer world is compelled to rearrange itself to reflect your inner conviction. That's why the moment you stop fighting for the blessing begins to move toward you. Faith announces it is finished, and the unseen responds, let it be done. Many people keep praying for signs when they themselves are the sign. The peace you feel after releasing the struggle is the evidence that the process has begun. The moment you stop checking, doubting, or worrying, you have already crossed the line from hoping to knowing. And knowing is the frequency that commands manifestation. You don't have to advertise your faith with words. Your calm confidence becomes your broadcast. People may not understand it. They'll wonder why you're so still when things appear uncertain, why you smile when nothing visible has changed. But faith doesn't rely on appearances. It rests on assurance. You've seen it inwardly, so you don't need to see it outwardly yet. You already have it in consciousness, so it must appear in form. This is why faith always attracts divine evidence. The law of life is simple. Whatever you accept inwardly must express itself outwardly. If you accept lack, you experience lack. If you accept completion, you experience fulfillment. Faith silently tells the universe, I already am. It replaces pleading with peace, doubt with gratitude, and effort with expectancy. So stop explaining your belief, stop defending your destiny. Your stillness is louder than your words. When you rest in the vision as already done, you become a magnet for everything that belongs to that vibration. Faith is not noise, it's quiet power. And the moment you rest in that quiet knowing, divine evidence will rush in to meet you, confirming what your heart already knew. It was yours all along. There comes a moment in every divine journey when what was hidden must be revealed. The waiting, the wondering, the quiet endurance, all of it leads to a point of undeniable manifestation. You have walked through seasons where favor seemed invisible, where faith was your only evidence, and silence was your only companion. But that was never the end. It was the setup. God has been preparing something so extraordinary that when it finally unfolds, no one will be able to explain it away. The reveal will not be subtle. It will be clear, radiant, and unmistakably divine. For a long time, your growth was underground. You were developing roots in secret, and to others it looked like nothing was happening. But heaven does its greatest work in hidden places. The seed cannot sprout until it's ready, and once it breaks through the soil, it does so with undeniable strength. In the same way, your next season will not require validation. The results will speak for themselves. The same people who questioned your faith, who spoke against your dreams, who dismissed your potential, will have no choice but to witness the evidence of divine favor on your life. You won't have to announce it. You won't have to prove it. What's coming will be too visible to deny. God's favor will show up in ways that silence every critic and confound every skeptic. Where there was once limitation, there will be overflow. Where there was rejection, there will be recognition. Where there was delay, there will be acceleration. The tables will turn so dramatically that it will be clear something higher has intervened. But remember, this reveal is not about pride, it's about purpose. God elevates not to boast, but to demonstrate. Your story will become evidence that faith works, that patience is never wasted, and that divine timing is always right. The very people who counted you out will have to say, only God could have done this. And that's exactly the point. This next move will glorify the source, not the struggle. What once felt like endless waiting will suddenly make sense. Every season of being hidden was necessary to protect what was being developed within you. If favor had come too soon, it might have been misunderstood or mishandled. But now you're ready. You've been humbled, strengthened, and refined. You no longer seek validation, you carry vision. And because of that, the manifestation will be undeniable. Get ready to stand in rooms that once seemed beyond reach. Get ready to see doors swing open effortlessly. Get ready for your name to be mentioned in places where you've never set foot. When divine favor moves, it doesn't whisper, it declares. This is the season where God's work in your life becomes visible to everyone. Even those who doubted you will have to acknowledge it. Something greater is guiding you. Something unseen has always been with you. And now the world will see what heaven has known all along. Everything you've walked through, the doubt, the waiting, the hidden years, was never wasted. Every moment was preparing you for this unveiling of divine favor. You've moved from striving to knowing, from hoping to believing, from asking to receiving. Now the season has come where what you held in faith will become visible to all. The favor that once worked silently within will now speak loudly through your life. This is not just your elevation, it's heaven's confirmation. The same God who carried you through the valley is now about to crown you on the mountain. The same people who questioned your calling will soon witness your blessing. You don't have to force anything, prove anything, or explain anything. Just keep standing in peace, walking in gratitude, and resting in faith. The law of divine favor cannot be denied. Your story will become living proof that belief transforms reality, that hidden seasons lead to holy revelation, and that those who trust divine timing never miss their moment. So lift your head high, You're stepping into the chapter that others will call inevitable, but heaven calls inevitable. The reveal will be undeniable, and your life will echo with one truth: God's favor has spoken. Thank you, my friend. You may not see it right now, but everything is working together for your good. The pieces that look scattered, the doors that closed, the moments that broke you, they are all being woven by divine hands into something breathtaking. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned. When God works, He often works in silence. He doesn't announce the process, He perfects it. What you call confusion is divine construction. What you call delay is spiritual alignment. God is rearranging the unseen realm to make everything fit your highest good. There are moments in life when the path feels uncertain, when what you prayed for seems far away. That's when the temptation comes to doubt, to question, to worry. But trust this truth: faith begins where understanding ends. Faith doesn't need to see evidence, it creates it. When you believe that everything is already working out, life starts reflecting that belief. Circumstances bend to your inner conviction. The universe mirrors your inner trust. You begin to walk not as one hoping for favor, but as one carrying it. So stop asking when and start saying thank you. Every challenge, every closed door, every heartbreak, it's not rejection, it's redirection. The divine knows the path that will bring you the greatest fulfillment. What feels like delay is really preparation for divine timing. You may think God has forgotten your prayer, but He's actually protecting it. He's shaping you into the person who can hold the blessing that's coming. The seed doesn't question the soil, it simply trusts the process. It knows that what's buried today will bloom tomorrow. So today, release your worry. Let go of the how and the when. Your only job is to believe, to dwell in the feeling that it's already done. Close your eyes and feel the reality of your answered prayer. Feel the peace of knowing that God has gone before you. Walk as if your miracle is already manifesting, because it is. You are not waiting on the blessing. The blessing is waiting on your trust. Every moment, every change, every unseen shift is working for your favor. So rest in this truth. You are guided, you are favored, and nothing is against you. The process may not look perfect, but it is divine. And one day soon you'll look back and realize every delay, every detour, every disappointment was God's perfect choreography bringing you into destiny. Trust the process. It's all working in your favor. It always has been. Everything that happens in your life, both the good and the challenging, is part of a greater orchestration, a divine rearrangement that is silently unfolding in your favor. It's easy to trust God when things make sense, when doors open smoothly, when opportunities align perfectly. But the real test of faith begins when the pieces seem scattered, when progress feels distant, and when your prayers appear unanswered. Yet even then, behind the confusion, God is at work, arranging every detail with precision and purpose. What looks like a setback is often a setup for something greater. The delays you face are not denials, they are divine strategies, designed to position you exactly where you need to be. Every closed door, every unexpected turn, every disappointment has meaning. There are moments when it feels like nothing is happening, but that silence is not absence, it's preparation. God is shifting circumstances, moving people, and aligning opportunities that you cannot yet see. The unseen rearrangement is happening in the invisible realm long before it appears in the visible one. Your responsibility is not to figure out how it's happening, but to trust that it is. Faith means believing that while you cannot see the full picture, the artist never stops painting. Think of it like a master weaver at work. From the front, the tapestry looks beautiful and complete, but from the back, all you see are tangled threads, knots, and chaos. Your life may look like the back of that tapestry right now. You see confusion, frustration, and delays, but God sees the front side. He sees the design, the masterpiece, the finished work. Every wrong turn is being woven into something that will ultimately make sense. Nothing is wasted, not a single tear, not a single moment. There's divine intelligence behind every event, no matter how random it appears. That job you lost, it's making room for one that fits your purpose. That relationship that ended, it's clearing space for one that will honor your worth. That opportunity that fell through, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. God's rearrangement always involves movement, and movement often feels uncomfortable. But remember, discomfort is the evidence that transformation is taking place. When you learn to rest in that truth, peace replaces panic. You stop fighting against what's leaving and start welcoming what's coming. You begin to see that every delay has meaning and every detour carries direction. The unseen rearrangement of your life isn't about punishment, it's about preparation. God is making sure that when the blessing arrives, you are ready to receive it fully, without fear, doubt, or limitation. So, even when nothing seems to make sense, stay anchored in faith. Something divine is happening behind the scenes. The doors that close are leading you toward the ones that matter. The pain you feel today is creating the strength you'll need tomorrow. What looks like chaos is actually choreography. God is not late, He's strategic. And when the rearrangement is complete, you'll see how every piece was always working in your favor. Life is not responding to what you want, it's responding to what you believe. Every experience, every encounter, every outcome is a reflection of the inner state you carry. The outer world is like a mirror. It faithfully reflects the images of your inner convictions, thoughts, and emotions. When you trust that God is working for you, your vibration changes, your energy shifts, and the circumstances around you begin to realign with that faith. What you hold within, your faith, your peace, your certainty, becomes the blueprint that shapes the world you see outside of you. This faith, you cannot walk in doubt internally and expect clarity externally. You cannot carry fear and attract peace. You cannot live in limitation and expect expansion. The law of life is simple but profound. As within, so without. What's going on inside you is constantly being echoed in the outer world. When your heart is filled with trust, gratitude, and assurance, your environment starts to mirror that frequency. Doors open, people respond differently, opportunities find you effortlessly, not because you're forcing them, but because your inner faith has become magnetic. When you believe that God is working behind the scenes, you stop striving and start aligning. You no longer chase outcomes, you attract them through your certainty. You begin to see life not as a series of random events, but as a spiritual reflection of your consciousness. Every challenge that arises becomes an opportunity to practice faith. Every delay becomes a lesson in surrender. Every moment becomes a chance to choose trust over fear. Imagine holding a lens covered in dust and trying to look through it. Everything outside looks unclear, not because the world is unclear, but because your lens is. Your inner state is that lens. When it's clouded by worry, doubt, or resentment, the world appears harsh and uncertain. But when your inner lens is clear, with faith, peace, and gratitude, the same world begins to look radiant and full of possibility. The outer world doesn't change first, you do. And once you do, the world must follow suit. That's why inner work is spiritual work. Prayer, meditation, gratitude, and faith aren't just rituals, they are acts of realignment. They tune your inner frequency to the divine rhythm of favor and grace. The more you dwell in the feeling that God is for you, the more life bends to confirm it. Circumstances shift, people appear, solutions unfold, all reflecting the conviction that already lives inside you. If your outer world feels chaotic, don't try to fix the mirror, clean the reflection, adjust your inner state. Affirm peace even when you don't see it. Give thanks even when nothing looks right. Hold the inner picture of your desired outcome and let your heart rest in the assurance that it is already done. When your inner belief aligns with divine truth, the outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself accordingly. So, choose faith over fear, gratitude over worry, and certainty over doubt. Trust that God is always working in your favor, and your world will begin to reflect that trust. The moment you change within, everything outside of you begins to shift. Faith is not the absence of reason, it is the presence of divine vision. It is the bridge that connects where you are to where you are destined to be. Faith stands in the gap between the unseen promise and its visible manifestation. It doesn't demand proof, it creates it. Faith is the language of the unseen, the vibration that communicates directly with the divine. When you walk by faith, you are not walking in darkness. You are walking in higher sight, seeing through the eyes of spirit rather than the limitations of the senses. The senses will always tell you what is, but faith tells you what is becoming. Your circumstances may whisper lack, but faith declares abundance. The world may show delay, but faith affirms divine timing. The doctor's report may read impossible, but faith answers back, with God, all things are possible. Faith doesn't ignore reality, it transcends it. It recognizes that the visible world is only a shadow of a deeper truth, one that is still forming beneath the surface of what you can see. When you believe, truly believe, you begin to align with the creative power that governs all things. Faith is your agreement with the unseen reality that already exists in the mind of God. Every answered prayer, every manifestation, every miracle first existed in that invisible realm before it ever appeared in the physical world. Faith is the bridge that allows that unseen blessing to cross over into your lived experience. Without faith, the bridge remains incomplete. With faith, the bridge becomes solid beneath your feet. Walking by faith means you no longer need to see the entire path. You trust the one who designed it. You take each step in confidence, knowing that even if you can't see the next stone, it will appear beneath your foot at the right moment. Faith is the decision to move forward even when the evidence is not yet visible, because you trust that God is arranging everything on your behalf. Faith is not passive, it's an active stance of certainty. It is holding the feeling of the answered prayer before it arrives. It is giving thanks for the victory before the battle is over. It is standing firm in peace while everything around you seems unstable. The world calls it delusion, heaven calls it alignment. Faith transforms your energy, your perception, and your outcomes. It magnetizes blessings because it operates in harmony with divine order. When you live by faith, you live in constant cooperation with the unseen hand that moves mountains, parts seas, and opens doors that logic says should remain closed. You no longer strive to make things happen. You allow them to unfold. Faith turns waiting into preparation and uncertainty into expectation. So even when life feels uncertain, keep walking. Even when you can't see the end, keep believing. Your faith is building the bridge under your steps. What begins in the invisible must one day manifest in the visible. Trust the unseen process, because faith has already gone ahead of you and made the way clear. Delays are one of the greatest tests of faith. They stretch you, refine you, and reveal what you truly believe about God's timing. It's easy to trust when everything flows smoothly, but when you're in the in-between, the place where nothing seems to be moving, you begin to question whether the promise will ever come to pass. Yet what feels like delay is not a denial, it is divine preparation. God often conceals His blessings in seasons of waiting, because the waiting is where the real transformation happens. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up the next day to see if it's growing. You trust the process. You know that beneath the surface something powerful is taking place, even if your eyes cannot see it. The same is true in your spiritual life. When God places a promise in your heart, it takes time to grow. The soil of your soul must be cultivated, your faith must be strengthened, and your character must be shaped to carry your praying for. A delay is never wasted time. It's preparation for divine fulfillment. In the waiting, God works on the unseen areas of your life. He refines your patience, teaches you surrender, and strengthens your trust. If you received everything you asked for instantly, your faith would never mature. The waiting builds depth, it develops spiritual muscle. The delay becomes the classroom where you learn how to depend on God completely. You stop chasing signs and start resting in His Word. You begin to realize that the process is as sacred as the promise itself. What you think is inactivity is actually divine activity. Behind the scenes, God is aligning circumstances, preparing people, and creating the right environment for your blessing to flourish. If it came too soon, it could destroy you. But in the right season, it will sustain you. There's a divine reason you haven't seen movement yet. Something within you or around you is still being aligned. Sometimes God holds back what you desire because He knows it would be smaller than what He plans to give you. When it feels like nothing is happening, shift your focus from frustration to faith. Every moment of delay is building spiritual capacity. It's creating roots deep enough to hold the fruit that's coming. Just because you can't see the evidence doesn't mean it's not unfolding. The seed doesn't stop growing just because it's hidden underground. God hides your blessing to protect it until it's ready to bloom. So instead of asking, when will it happen, begin saying, thank you, God, that it's happening. Praise Him not only for the promise, but also for the preparation. The waiting is not a punishment, it's positioning. Every delay has divine intention. When the appointed time arrives, what once seemed impossible will unfold effortlessly. The door will open, the promise will appear, and you'll realize that the delay was never a detour. It was the very thing that made the destination possible. God is not withholding, He's preparing. And when He's done, it will be worth every moment of the wait. The greatest secret of manifestation is not in asking repeatedly, it's in assuming the feeling of the answered prayer. The moment you believe that what you desire is already yours, the energy of your world begins to shift. You no longer live in lack, but in fulfillment. You no longer pray from desperation, but from gratitude. When you assume the feeling of the answer, you align yourself with the vibration of completion, and creation must obey that frequency. The outer world has no choice but to mirror the conviction you hold within. Belief always precedes evidence. Everything you now see began first as an unseen conviction in someone's mind. Faith works the same way. It's the inner acceptance of the unseen as already real. When you walk around believing that your prayer is answered, you begin to speak differently, think differently, and act differently. You shift from hoping it will happen to knowing it already has. That inner certainty becomes magnetic. The universe rearranges people, events, and opportunities to reflect the energy of that belief. Most people wait for evidence to believe. They say, I'll believe it when I see it. But spiritual law operates in reverse. You see it because you believe it. Your inner state is the seed, and the outer experience is the harvest. If your inner world is filled with doubt, fear, and waiting, that's exactly what your outer world will reproduce. But when you carry the feeling that it's already done, your outer life begins to conform to that assumption. It's not pretending. It's participating with divine creation. Think of yourself as the artist of your reality. The brush is your imagination, and your belief is the color that brings life to the canvas. When you hold the image of your answered prayer and let your emotions match it, peace, gratitude, joy, you begin to live from the end. You're no longer striving to make something happen, you're aligning with what already exists in the unseen. That alignment creates movement in the visible world. This principle isn't about ignoring what's real, it's about elevating your perception to a higher truth. You can acknowledge your current circumstances while still holding the feeling of your desired outcome. You can look at the present and still say, this too is working in my favor. When you live as if your miracle has already occurred, your actions naturally flow from that confidence. You stop worrying, you stop forcing outcomes, you start resting in assurance. Gratitude becomes your daily posture. Instead of asking, when will it happen? You begin saying, thank you, that it already has. That shift from asking to thanking is the mark of true faith. It tells the universe and God that you trust His timing, His method, and His wisdom. So close your eyes and imagine the feeling of the prayer already fulfilled. Feel the peace, the joy, the relief. Let it fill your entire being. That feeling is the bridge between your desire and its manifestation. Hold it, live in it, and soon the outer world will catch up to what you've already accepted within. Believe first and watch the evidence flow effortlessly into your life. Surrendering to the divine timeline is one of the highest forms of faith. It is the art of releasing control and trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should, even when your mind cannot understand the pace or direction. It doesn't mean giving up, it means giving over. It means resting in the awareness that God's plan for your life is far greater, wiser, and more beautiful than anything you could orchestrate on your own. Trusting the divine timeline requires humility. The humility to accept that your understanding is limited, but divine wisdom is infinite. When you truly surrender, you no longer force outcomes. You stop trying to rush what needs time to mature. You stop begging for doors to open before you're ready to walk through them. You realize that divine timing is not delay, it's precision. God's plan never runs late, it runs deep. Every event, every encounter, every pause is perfectly synchronized to prepare both you and the path ahead. The waiting is not wasted, it's weaving something eternal. We often believe we must make everything happen through effort and striving, but real trust begins when you learn to rest while you wait. Surrender is not idleness, it's inner alignment. It's choosing peace over panic, faith over fear, gratitude over anxiety. It's saying, God, I don't know how or when, but I know you do. In that space of surrender, the burden lifts. You stop trying to control the uncontrollable and begin to cooperate with divine flow. Every season of your life has a sacred rhythm. There's a time to sow, a time to grow, and a time to harvest. Trying to force a harvest before its season only brings frustration. But when you trust the divine timeline, you move in harmony with life itself. You understand that what's meant for you will never miss you, and what's not meant for you will never stay. The things that seem delayed are only being perfected. The people who left were part of the pruning process. The opportunities that didn't come through were protection disguised as disappointment. This is why surrender is the bridge between chaos and peace. It transforms waiting into worship. When you stop resisting the timing of your blessings, you open the door for divine acceleration. Ironically, the moment you stop trying to control the outcome is often the moment things begin to flow, because surrender aligns your energy with divine order, where miracles naturally unfold. So breathe deeply and let go of the timelines you created in your mind. Let go of the pressure to make things happen on your schedule. Rest in the knowing that the universe, under God's command, is not working against you, it's working for you. The invisible forces are already arranging what belongs to you. Your only role is to keep your faith alive, to stay grateful in the waiting, and to trust that when the time is right, everything will unfold effortlessly. You are not behind, you are not forgotten, you are right on schedule, according to the divine timeline that never fails. Every moment of your life, every delay, every challenge, every breakthrough is part of a divine design working perfectly in your favor. You may not see all the pieces right now, but God does. He's arranging, aligning, and preparing everything you need to step into your destiny. The unseen rearrangement, your inner faith, your willingness to wait, your surrender, these are not random spiritual concepts. They are the tools that bridge the invisible and the visible. When you learn to trust the process, to hold the feeling of the answered prayer, and to release your need to control timing, life begins to unfold with divine ease. What once felt like chaos becomes clarity. What once felt like delay becomes direction. Every event begins to reveal its purpose. So walk forward with peace in your heart. Know that the hand of God is upon your life, shaping every experience into favor. Believe that even now, unseen forces are moving in your direction. Keep your faith steady, your spirit calm, and your words filled with gratitude. You are not waiting for things to work out, they already are. Trust the process, because the process itself is proof that you are on your divine path. Thank you for watching, and remember, everything is working in your favor. Stay in faith, stay grateful, and keep trusting the divine timing of your life. There comes a time when heaven whispers, it's your turn. You've been faithful in the drought, generous in the dry places, and patient when nothing seemed to move. But what you could not see is that while you were waiting, something greater was being arranged for you. God is about to overflow your bank account, not by chance, not by luck, but by divine design. The unseen realm has already completed what your eyes have not yet witnessed. Every act of faith, every moment you believed when it made no sense, was a seed, and now those seeds are ready to burst into harvest. The mistake most people make is thinking abundance begins in the world. It never does. The outer world only mirrors the inner conviction. When you walk in the quiet confidence that you are already provided for, money begins to move, opportunities find you, and people are stirred to bless you without knowing why. The world tells you to hustle harder, but divine supply doesn't answer to anxiety, it answers to faith. The more you believe in lack, the more lack multiplies. The more you rest in the knowing that everything you need has already been given, the more supply flows to match that inner belief. See yourself right now as already blessed. Not in the future, not someday, but now. Feel the relief of the bill being paid, the joy of the debt being cleared, the gratitude of a full account. That feeling is not imagination, it is creation. The moment you feel it as real, the unseen begins to obey. You don't have to know how it will happen, that's God's work. Your job is to believe and stay ready. Stay ready when it looks slow. Stay ready when your senses argue otherwise, because blessings move in silence until the appointed time, and when that time comes, overflow is instant. You're not waiting for the money is waiting for your readiness. The channel of giving and receiving has always been open. You just needed to align your faith with the truth that you are already abundant. This is the season where what was delayed will be delivered, where what was blocked will be released. God is not preparing the blessing, He's preparing you to hold it. And when you finally align your belief with His promise, nothing can stop what's coming. So lift your head, expect the unexpected, and act as though the overflow has already begun. Because the truth is, it has. Stay ready, stay thankful, stay open. Your account is about to testify that God never forgets a faithful heart. Everything you see, touch, or possess began first in a realm you cannot see. The physical world is merely a mirror, reflecting what has already been accepted and impressed upon your inner consciousness. Every dollar that flows to you, Every opportunity that crosses your path and every door that opens in your favor is not random. It is a response from the invisible source, the divine mind, the creative power that shapes all things. When you begin to understand that the unseen world is the origin of everything visible, you stop chasing after appearances and start nurturing your inner state of belief. Most people live as though the outer world determines their fate. They measure their worth by what is in their account, their progress by what is in sight, and their potential by what others can see. But the truth is, the visible is temporary. It changes, fades, and shifts. The invisible, however, is eternal and unchanging. It is the silent architect that molds reality according to your inner assumptions. When you accept something as true within, the universe bends to make it visible without. What you believe about wealth, abundance, and provision is far more important than the numbers you see. You might think you are waiting for a paycheck, a job offer, or a business deal to prosper. But in reality, those outer forms are simply channels, not the source itself. The real source of your supply is divine and infinite. Money is just one of the many ways it expresses itself. When you stop limiting your supply to a person, a company, or a circumstance, you release the flow of abundance that was always waiting to reach you. The moment you detach your trust from appearances and place it on the unseen source, life rearranges itself to provide what you need. The invisible source works through your consciousness, not against it. When you think thoughts of fear, lack, and limitation, you block the current of supply. When you think thoughts of faith, gratitude, and expectancy, you open the floodgates. Your mind becomes the bridge between the unseen and the seen. As you maintain inner conviction that you are already supported, already provided for, and already rich in divine supply, this truth begins to crystallize into outer form. Do not be deceived by appearances. If your outer situation seems dry or limited, it is only a reflection of what has been held too long within. Change the image you hold of yourself. See yourself as one who lives in the continuous flow of divine abundance, and watch how the outer world begins to adjust. Every new opportunity, every unexpected blessing, and every provision is simply the outer echo of your inner conviction. The invisible source is the only source. It never runs out, never forgets, never fails. The more you trust it, the more evidence it provides. The key is to align your inner world with the truth that everything you desire is already finished in the unseen. Believe it, feel it, and the outer world will have no choice but to obey. You were never meant to chase abundance. The moment you chase it, you confess that it's missing, that it's out there somewhere, separate from you. But true prosperity isn't something you run after. It's something you align with. It's not earned by effort, struggle, or constant striving. It's received through alignment. A quiet inner knowing that you are already provided for. The outer chase ends the moment the inner acceptance begins. The world teaches you to hustle, to push, to fight for what's yours. But spiritual law moves differently. In the divine order, everything you desire already exists in potential form. You don't create abundance, you awaken to it. You don't make wealth appear, you recognize that it's already surrounding you, waiting for your consciousness to rise to its frequency. When you assume the feeling of already having what you desire, you vibrate in harmony with it. The universe can only mirror what you are, not what you're trying to become. Chasing creates resistance. It signals to the universe that you lack what you seek. Alignment, on the other hand, invites flow. It says, I already am what I desire to be. That is the secret. Abundance flows effortlessly to the mind that is at peace with having it. When you move from striving to knowing, from desperation to calm expectation, life begins to rearrange itself to match your belief. The clients appear, the opportunities come, the unexpected checks arrive. Not because you chased them, but because you aligned with the truth that you were always worthy of receiving them. To align with abundance means to feel its presence now. Feel what it's like to live without financial fear. Feel the peace of knowing every need is met before you even ask. Feel the gratitude of having more than enough. That feeling, deeply felt and consistently held, becomes a magnet. It draws into your experience every resource, connection, and opportunity needed to sustain that reality. You no longer depend on outer signs to feel rich. Your inner richness becomes the cause, not the effect. When you stop chasing, your energy becomes magnetic instead of scattered. You no longer beg life for what's already yours. You rest in the assurance that provision is already on its way because it exists in a higher realm waiting for your belief to call it forth. Faith is not blind optimism. It's a deep awareness that abundance is your natural state. The more you feel that truth, the faster it manifests in form. Abundance is not a destination. It's a state of consciousness. It's not found in the balance of your bank account, but in the balance of your belief. When you live in alignment with prosperity, you become a channel for it to flow. Easily, naturally, and continuously. The struggle ends and the flow begins. You don't have to chase abundance because abundance has already found you. All you must do is align, believe, and receive. Imagination is not a daydream or fantasy. It is the creative workshop of God within you. Every reality that has ever come into being was first imagined. The chair you sit on, the building you live in, the money in your account, all of it began as an unseen image in someone's mind. That same divine power that designed worlds and galaxies lives in you as imagination. Your imagination is the currency of heaven, the medium through which unseen wealth, opportunities, and blessings are purchased into visibility. Whatever you vividly and consistently imagine with faith is already taking form in the unseen realm. The invisible world responds to your inner pictures as if they were commands. When you imagine something clearly and feel it as already done, you are writing a spiritual check that heaven will always honor. The moment you accept the image as real within, you initiate its birth in the outer world. You don't have to struggle to make it happen. The unseen realm takes care of the details. Once you've impressed it upon your consciousness. Most people misuse imagination. They imagine fears, lack, and limitation, then wonder why life reflects the same. The mind is always imaging something, and what you continually see and feel within is what you'll eventually touch without. This is why faith and imagination must work together. Imagination gives form to faith, and faith gives life to imagination. When the two merge, creation is inevitable. If you desire abundance, don't focus on what's missing. Go inward and begin to see yourself already possessing it. Picture yourself living in peace, paying your bills with ease, giving generously, and walking with confidence. Let the image feel natural. Don't think of it as a future event. Think from it as a present reality. The more real it feels within, the faster it crystallizes without. Your imagination must become more real to you than your senses, because your senses only report what already was. Imagination reveals what is becoming. Vincent, uh, uh, every night, as you close your eyes, you enter the realm where creation begins. Use that sacred space to see yourself as you wish to be. See the end and dwell there until it feels true. Don't worry about how it will come to pass. The how is never your concern. Your only responsibility is to hold the inner picture with unwavering faith, to live from it mentally until life has no choice but to catch up. The currency of heaven doesn't operate by effort, it operates by belief. Every time you imagine with conviction, you make a deposit in the invisible bank of creation. And when the time of maturity comes, it pays back with divine interest. Imagination is not pretending, it is perceiving what is real before it becomes visible. What you consistently imagine with faith is not a wish, it is a prophecy waiting to manifest. Nurture your inner vision, and soon the unseen will become your reality. Gratitude is not just a polite response to blessings received. It is a spiritual frequency that aligns you with abundance itself. A thankful heart is a magnet for divine increase because it vibrates in harmony with the truth that all needs are already met. When you live in gratitude, you stop broadcasting lack and begin radiating sufficiency. You move from asking to receiving, from striving to allowing. Gratitude is the signal that tells the universe, I already have what I desire. And that very acknowledgement opens unseen channels of provision that logic can never comprehend. Most people wait until something good happens before they give thanks. But true gratitude begins before the evidence appears. It is the spiritual act of faith that precedes manifestation. When you can thank God for the blessing before it arrives, you prove that you already believe it exists. And belief is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. The moment you feel genuine thankfulness for what is yet unseen, creation begins to move in your favor. You have entered the current of miracles, where supply flows freely and effortlessly. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present. It transforms your awareness from deficiency to sufficiency. Even if your finances seem small, your praise must remain large. When you give thanks for the little, you multiply it. When you complain about the little, you diminish it. The grateful heart multiplies whatever it touches, because gratitude carries the vibration of increase. It tells the divine source that you recognize abundance, and therefore you are ready for more. Think of gratitude as spiritual wealth management. It keeps your consciousness rich even when the numbers say otherwise. When you wake up and feel thankful for breath, opportunity, wisdom, and life itself, you invite unseen blessings to locate you. The mind that is consistently grateful is always fertile ground for financial miracles because it is attuned to receive. Logic will tell you that money comes from work, strategy, and timing, but spiritual law says it comes through faith, gratitude, and alignment. Gratitude opens the channels that effort alone cannot. It moves through people, circumstances, and coincidences to deliver what you have already acknowledged as yours in spirit. Miracles happen not because you fight for them, but because you have become a match for them. To live in gratitude is to live in flow. It means every breath, every bill, every opportunity is met with a quiet thank you. That simple vibration of appreciation keeps your heart open, your energy high, and your path clear. It removes the tension of striving and replaces it with the peace of knowing. The thankful soul doesn't chase, it attracts. It doesn't plead, it praises. Gratitude is not a reaction, it's a creation. The more you practice it, the more it multiplies what you value. It is the sound of faith and the fragrance of trust. When you stay thankful in every circumstance, you become the vessel through which financial miracles flow. Easily, naturally, and continuously. The overflow doesn't begin in the bank, it begins in the mind. Prosperity is not a number, it's a state of consciousness. When your inner world accepts the truth that you are already abundant, the outer world cannot help but mirror that belief. Everything you experience financially is a reflection of what you have accepted as true within. Life is not responding to your effort as much as it is responding to your expectation. The moment you believe that abundance is already yours, the unseen realm begins to move resources, people, and opportunities into position to match that belief. Many people try to fix their finances by working harder, saving more, or chasing opportunities. While action has its place, the true transformation begins in belief. Without an inner conviction of prosperity, even the best strategies collapse. But when you carry the awareness of divine abundance within you, even small efforts produce multiplied results. Belief turns ordinary moments into miracles, because belief is the seed of manifestation. You don't wait for overflow to believe, you believe first, and overflow follows. The universe is a mirror, not a master. It doesn't dictate your life, it reflects it. If you feel lack within, you will see lack without. If you feel richness within, life organizes itself to prove you right. Every bill, every challenge, every opportunity is neutral until you assign it meaning through belief. When your mind rests in the assurance that your supply is endless, that you are fully supported by divine intelligence, then even delays become setups for increase. You cannot hold a conviction of prosperity and remain poor. In experience, one must give way to the other. In essence, you cannot live without faith. You must live with belief. Changes your vibration, and vibration changes your results. A heart anchored in abundance speaks differently, acts differently, and expects differently. You stop worrying about how things will unfold because you know that provision is already prepared. You no longer chase after opportunities, they begin to chase after you. This is the law of alignment. The outer world rearranges itself to match the state of your inner conviction. To live in belief is to live in peace. It's knowing that you are connected to an infinite source that never runs dry. The bank account may fluctuate, but your faith must remain steady. When you believe that you are already prosperous, you move through life with quiet confidence. You give more freely, you think more expansively, and you attract more easily. You have become a vessel of overflow, not because of what's in your hands, but because of what's in your heart. The overflow is not waiting in the world, it's waiting in your consciousness. The moment you say, I already have all that I need, heaven begins to confirm your words. Belief is the birthplace of abundance, and faith is its fuel. When your inner conviction becomes unshakable, your outer reality has no choice but to rise and meet it. The bank will follow where belief leads, always. The greatest blessings rarely announce their arrival. They move in silence, forming in the unseen long before they appear in your sight. Life may look still on the surface, but behind the curtain, divine orchestration is already in motion. The shift happens quietly, then all at once. One moment, nothing seems to be moving. The next, everything unfolds in perfect order. That is why you must stay ready, because the blessing will not warn you before it comes. It will simply appear, and only those who have kept their faith alive will recognize it. Preparation is the language of faith. To stay ready is to live as if what you've prayed for is already done. It's maintaining expectation even when there's no visible evidence. Every great manifestation begins with an unseen decision, the choice to believe before seeing. When your inner world changes, when your heart accepts that the promise is already fulfilled, the outer world rushes to catch up. Reality always lags behind belief. Once belief is established, the physical must rearrange itself to reflect it. Too many people lose heart in the quiet season. They mistake silence for absence. But silence is never the absence of movement. It's the womb of creation. The seed doesn't make noise while it grows roots, yet it's preparing to break through the surface. In the same way, your breakthrough is forming in the invisible, deep beneath the soil of your faith. Don't let impatience uproot what God is growing in secret. Staying ready means living in gratitude now. It means preparing the vessel for the overflow, even if you don't yet see the rain. If you knew the blessing was about to arrive tomorrow, how would you act today? Would you worry less? Would you speak differently? Would you plan with confidence? That's the posture of readiness, behaving as if the blessing is certain, not questionable. This attitude of expectancy keeps your heart open and your energy aligned with the flow of divine timing. When the shift happens, it happens fast. Suddenly the opportunity calls, the promotion arrives, the debt clears, the path opens. What once felt delayed comes together in divine synchronization. You realize that all along you weren't waiting on the blessing was waiting on you to be ready for it. Readiness is not about activity, it's about alignment. It's not about doing more, it's about believing deeper. The quiet season refines your faith so that when the blessing comes, you can sustain it. Stay ready through worship, gratitude, and expectancy. Keep your mind in the vibration of it is already done. Don't despise the stillness. It's the silence before the song, the calm before the flood of favor. The shift is closer than it looks. When the unseen becomes seen, it will happen suddenly, beautifully, and undeniably. So stay ready. The blessing that's been forming in the dark is about to burst into your light. In the end, everything you've been believing for, praying for, and imagining has never been out of reach. It has always been forming in the unseen. The overflow that's coming to your life is not luck or coincidence. It's the natural result of your faith, your gratitude, and your alignment with divine truth. When you stop chasing and start believing, when you stop worrying and start imagining from fulfillment, life begins to mirror that inner certainty. The invisible source that sustains all things is already at work in your favor, arranging every detail for your good. Stay faithful in the quiet season, stay thankful in the waiting, and stay ready for the sudden shift. The blessing may come unannounced, but it will never come unprepared. You are entering a season where what you believed in silence will manifest in sight, where the unseen becomes seen, and the promise becomes your reality. Your faith has prepared the way. Your gratitude has unlocked the flow. Your imagination has built the bridge. Now stand ready to receive what has always been yours. Thank you for listening, and remember, your overflow begins the moment you believe it's already done. My friends, there are moments in life when it feels as though everything has come to a standstill, when the doors seem locked, when prayers seem unanswered, and when time itself feels heavy with delay. But I tell you, nothing is still. Beneath the surface of what you call reality, an unseen hand is moving every piece, arranging every circumstance, aligning every person, and orchestrating every detail for your favor. You may not see it yet, but divine order never sleeps. The invisible intelligence that formed the stars, that whispered light into the darkness, is now working for you. Every disappointment, every detour, every silence, it was never rejection, but redirection. When you begin to believe that life is for you and not against you, something shifts. The same world, once filled with obstacles, becomes a field of divine cooperation. What looked like endings begin to reveal themselves as beginnings in disguise. The truth is, your outer world can only reflect the inner world you occupy. When you live in expectation of favor, when you feel within that things are turning for your good, the universe must echo that conviction. Everything rearranges itself to mirror your inner assumption. Do not look to appearances for confirmation. Appearances are old echoes of your former beliefs. Look instead to the unseen, to the conviction within your heart. Hold to it, rest in it. Know that God is working through it. Your breakthrough is not a future event. It begins in the moment you shift your awareness. As soon as you claim, things are moving in my favor, they are. It may not be visible at first, but the seed of transformation has been planted, and it cannot return void. So expect big changes, expect sudden movement, expect favor in places you least imagined. Expect the phone call, the opportunity, the open door. For God is moving everything in divine rhythm, and that rhythm is carrying you into fulfillment. Stop worrying about how it will happen. Your part is belief, God's part is performance. And He has never failed in His role. When you rest in the assurance that all things are working together for your good, you become an instrument of divine flow. The world bends to your conviction. People show up, paths clear, miracles unfold. Hold this truth. Everything is being moved in your favor. You are being guided, positioned, and prepared for something far greater than you can now imagine. So stand still in faith. Live from the end, not toward it. See yourself already in possession of the promise, already living the answered prayer. And as surely as dawn follows night, your outer world will reveal what your inner world has already accepted. Yes, God is moving everything in your favor. Yes, big changes are coming. And yes, they are already on their way to you. There are seasons in life when it seems as though everything has gone still, when your prayers echo back in silence, when the plans you carefully made crumble, and when each day feels like a repetition of waiting. Yet beneath that stillness, something sacred is unfolding. The unseen world is not inactive, it is alive with divine motion, silently rearranging itself to fulfill the conviction you hold within. Life is never idle. What appears to be stagnation is, in truth, divine orchestration in progress. When you understand this, frustration gives way to faith. The moment you imagine something with feeling, you set in motion an unseen current. Every assumption, every belief, every conviction is like a seed planted in the soil of the invisible. It does not spring up overnight, yet its roots begin to move through the unseen layers of reality, seeking the right moment to emerge. You do not have to force it, chase it, or beg for it. You need only remain faithful to your inner vision, trusting that the unseen rearrangement is already at work on your behalf. The outer world is slow to catch up because it is only an echo of the invisible pattern already formed in consciousness. When you change the pattern within, life must, by divine law, rearrange itself to mirror that change. This is not magic, it is order. The events that unfold, the people you meet, the opportunities that seem to suddenly appear are not coincidences. They are the visible expressions of what has already shifted within you. The world bends to the strength of your assumption, not the weakness of your doubt. Think of the silence between the planting of a seed and its sprouting. Nothing appears to happen, yet everything essential is taking place beneath the surface. The soil must soften, the roots must find water, the seed must break open before life can emerge. The same is true for your desires. The waiting season is never wasted. The delay is not denial, it is preparation. Life is aligning people, timing, and circumstance to deliver the fulfillment of what you have already accepted in your heart. The unseen rearrangement is subtle but exact. It knows no confusion, no mistakes, no missed opportunities. Even the detours, the disappointments, the closed doors are part of its precision. What leaves your life makes space for what belongs. What falls apart allows what is divinely ordained to take form. If only you could see the invisible threads being woven on your behalf, you would never doubt again. So when nothing seems to move, remember, everything is moving. When nothing changes, everything is changing. When it feels as though you have been forgotten, know that the universe is working overtime in your favor. Rest in that assurance. Trust the unseen. Hold fast to your conviction. Because the moment you believed, life began its quiet rearrangement to fulfill it. And when the time is ripe, what was once invisible will stand before you, tangible and complete, as proof that the unseen world was faithful all along. Faith does not live in the realm of what can be seen, touched, or measured. It lives in the invisible, in that sacred space between knowing and seeing. True faith begins exactly at the point where the evidence of your senses ends. When logic fails to explain how things could ever change, and yet something deep within you whispers, it already has. This is the moment when faith is born, not as a blind hope, but as an inner certainty that transcends appearances. Your senses will always report to you the current state of the visible world. What is, not what is becoming. They are faithful servants, but poor masters. If you live by them alone, you remain imprisoned by what already exists. But when you choose to believe in what your heart knows, even when your eyes cannot yet see it, you align yourself with the creative power that governs all life. Faith does not wait for evidence. There is a subtle but profound shift that happens when you stop asking, when will it happen, and begin to feel, it is happening now. The world outside may still look the same, but inside you, a spiritual law has been activated. The moment you assume the reality of your desire, not as a wish, but as a fact, the unseen begins to rearrange itself to reflect that inner truth. The evidence will come, but only after the belief. This is the test of faith, to stand firm when nothing supports your vision, when everything contradicts it. It is easy to believe when doors open, when prayers are answered, when signs appear. But true faith shines brightest in silence, in the space where you must hold the unseen as real, even when the world laughs, even when your circumstances insist otherwise. To the doubting mind, this may look like foolishness, but to the awakened heart, it is divine wisdom in motion. Your heart is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It knows before the mind understands. It senses the completion of a thing before the outer form catches up. When you listen to that inner knowing and dwell in the feeling of already having what you desire, you rise above appearances. You begin to live from the end, not toward it. And from that state, all things begin to align in perfect order. The mistake most people make is waiting for proof before believing. But faith is the reverse. It is belief that becomes proof. Every miracle, every breakthrough, every answered prayer begins as a conviction held in the unseen. You do not need to know how or when. You need only to know that it is. So close your eyes to appearances and open them inwardly. Let your heart declare the truth, even when your senses deny it. For what is real within must one day become real without. That is the law. That is faith beyond evidence, the quiet power that transforms the invisible into the inevitable. Imagination is not mere fantasy, nor is it idle daydreaming. It is the divine workshop of creation, the sacred womb from which every visible thing is born. Everything you see around you, every building, every invention, every work of art, every movement in human history began first as an image in someone's mind. The outer world is nothing more than the visible reflection of the inner one. Whatever you inwardly accept as real, whatever you emotionally claim as true, must by the unfailing law of consciousness take form in your outer experience. The imagination is not limited to the creative artist or the visionary. It belongs to everyone. It is your direct link to the infinite. When you close your eyes and see with the eye of the spirit, you enter the realm where all possibilities already exist. In that inner world, nothing is denied to you. The only limits are the ones you impose through doubt, fear, or disbelief. If you can imagine it vividly and feel it deeply, it is already taking shape in the unseen. To imagine is to create. When you imagine something and accept it as real, not as something to come, but as something that is, you impress that image upon the deeper layers of your consciousness. That impression becomes a command to the universe, a pattern to which reality must conform. Life has no choice but to mirror what you inwardly assume. The world around you bends to the quality of your imagination just as surely as water takes the shape of its container. Most people use their imagination against themselves. They rehearse fear, lack, and limitation in their minds and then wonder why life reflects those very conditions. But imagination is impartial. It brings forth whatever it is given. You cannot plant seeds of doubt and expect a harvest of peace. You cannot imagine failure and live in victory. The outer world will always yield the fruit of the inner image. To change your life, you must change your inner pictures. Begin to live in the feeling of your fulfilled desire. See yourself as already possessing what you long for. Speak and act from that state. The moment you do, the creative power within begins to rearrange everything necessary for that vision to appear. You may not see it at first, but the process has begun. The world will quietly shift to match the new pattern you have accepted. Imagination is God's gift, the means by which you participate in creation itself. When you dare to imagine the highest for yourself and others, you align with divine order. You stop reacting to the world and begin shaping it from within. So guard your imagination. Feed it only with the images of love, abundance, success, and peace. What you hold within, you will hold without. Remember always, your imagination is not a place to escape reality. It is the place where reality begins. There comes a moment in every journey when it feels as though nothing is happening. When prayers seem unanswered, doors remain closed, and progress appears to have stopped. It is in those quiet, uncertain seasons that frustration often whispers, "Why is this taking so long?" But delay is never denial. What you call waiting is in truth divine preparation. Life is arranging itself perfectly, aligning every detail, every person, and every circumstance to fulfill what you have already asked for. The universe does not rush because it is never late. Divine timing operates with precision, guided by wisdom that sees far beyond your limited perspective. You may want something immediately, but what you desire must be supported by who you are becoming. Sometimes the blessing cannot arrive until you are ready to hold it, protect it, and sustain it. The waiting period is the sacred interval in which you are being shaped, strengthened, and expanded to match the magnitude of what is coming. Think of the farmer who plants a seed. He does not dig it up the next day to check its progress. He trusts the process. He knows that beneath the soil, hidden from sight, the miracle is already unfolding. So it is with your life. Beneath the surface of what you can see, forces are moving, connections are forming, opportunities are maturing, and pathways are opening. The silence is not evidence of absence. It is the womb of manifestation. When you understand this, patience becomes peace. You no longer fight against the flow of time, you rest in it. You begin to see delays not as obstacles, but as orchestration. Every seeming setback becomes a setup. Every closed door redirects you towards something greater. Every pause is filled with purpose. The divine is never withholding good from you. It is perfecting it for you. Often, what we interpret as divine silence is actually divine precision. The right person may not yet be in position. The right opportunity may still be forming. The right timing may not have arrived. If the door opened too soon, you might enter unprepared. But when everything aligns, when your inner readiness meets divine timing, what once seemed impossible will unfold effortlessly. Trust the unseen alignment. The waiting time is a sacred space where your faith is tested, your character refined, and your trust deepened. It is in this space that you learn to depend not on outer signs, but on inner knowing. that quiet assurance that everything is unfolding for your highest good. So do not resent the waiting. Embrace it as divine preparation. Use it to grow, to refine your vision, to strengthen your belief. Rest in the certainty that nothing is being withheld from you. Everything is on schedule, perfectly timed according to divine wisdom. When the moment is right, it will happen so swiftly, so gracefully, that you will realize it was never a delay. It was a perfect unfolding, waiting for you to be ready to receive. You are not separate from divine favor. You are its vessel. The same life that animates the stars flows through you, expressing itself as thought, belief, and imagination. Favor is not something that comes from outside to touch a chosen few. It moves through consciousness, responding to what you accept as true about yourself. What you believe, you magnetize. What you expect, you invite. Life mirrors not your desires alone, but your convictions. God's favor is ever present, infinite, and impartial. It does not choose one over another. It flows wherever it finds belief. It is like electricity, available to all, but only those who connect to it receive its power. Your faith, your expectation, and your inner dialogue are the wires through which divine energy flows. If you live in the awareness that life is for you, that good is always moving toward you, that everything is working in your favor, then that becomes your lived experience. But if you hold in consciousness the belief that you are unlucky, forgotten, or unworthy, you block the current of divine flow. Everything begins within. The world you see is the mirror of your own awareness. To live as the vessel of favor, you must first recognize that you already carry it. You are the channel through which blessings enter the world. The more you believe this truth, the more freely the divine can move through you, guiding your steps, aligning opportunities, and bringing the right people into your path. When you walk in the awareness of divine favor, you stop competing, striving, and forcing outcomes. You rest in trust. You understand that what is meant for you cannot be taken, and what passes you by was never yours to begin with. This awareness creates an atmosphere around you, a magnetic field of peace, confidence, and gratitude. People feel it, opportunities respond to it, and life bends to it. The key is not to chase favor, but to embody it. Begin each day with the quiet assurance that divine love goes before you, making the crooked paths straight. See yourself surrounded by light, guided by wisdom, supported by grace. Speak to yourself with kindness. Expect good. When you carry this inner state, the outer world rearranges itself accordingly. Things begin to work out by coincidence. Doors open without effort. Help appears at the right moment. What others call luck, you will recognize as alignment. Even in difficulty, favor remains. Challenges are not signs of abandonment, but invitations to rise higher in consciousness. To prove the truth that God's favor never leaves you. The more you affirm it in the face of appearances, the stronger it grows within you. You are not trying to attract favor, you are revealing it. It has always been yours. The moment you believe that you are the chosen vessel of divine flow, life responds. Everything you need, guidance, provision, opportunity, will find its way to you, drawn by the magnetic power of your belief. There comes a moment when everything changes, not because the outer world suddenly rearranges, but because something deep within you does. That moment is the instant you assume with conviction the feeling of your fulfilled desire. It is not wishful thinking or forced optimism. It is an inner shift of identity. You stop hoping and start knowing. You no longer look for the change, you become it. From that moment forward, the universe, in its infinite intelligence, begins to conspire for your breakthrough. The sudden shift is never random. It happens the moment your inner state aligns with your desired reality. For weeks, months, or even years, it may seem as if nothing is moving, yet in a single instant of realization, everything begins to accelerate. Life responds to states of being, not words alone. When you feel yourself to be what you desire to be, you vibrate in harmony with that reality, and by law, it must appear. The outer world has no choice but to reflect the new state you have assumed. This is why imagination and feeling are the tools of transformation. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to claim it inwardly before it takes shape outwardly. It is a declaration to the universe that the matter is settled. You no longer question when or how, you rest in the assurance that it already is. And that inner rest triggers movement in the unseen. Opportunities arise, ideas flow, coincidences appear, and people are drawn into your path to fulfill what your consciousness has accepted. The sudden shift is often quiet. It doesn't always announce itself with thunder or signs. Sometimes it feels like a deep peace, a calm knowing that something has changed, even though nothing outside has yet moved. But that peace is the seed of transformation. It is the point at which destiny begins to unfold. The shift within is the cause. The outer manifestation is the inevitable effect. Many live their lives waiting for circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel fulfilled. But the law is reversed. The feeling must come first. You cannot wait to be joyful until you see results. You must feel the joy now and the results will mirror. You cannot wait to feel loved until love appears. You must feel love now and love will find you. The universe mirrors your inner assumption, not your outer need. When the shift happens within, do not doubt it. Even if nothing visible confirms it yet, trust that the unseen forces are already in motion. Life begins to reorganize itself with precision and speed once consciousness has made the claim. So expect the sudden shift. Expect the doors that were closed to open easily. Expect opportunities to appear where none existed. Expect divine favor to move swiftly in your direction. When you live from the feeling of the fulfilled desire, you are no longer chasing change, you are magnetizing it. The moment you believe it's done, the universe rushes to prove you right. Every truth shared today leads to one simple yet powerful realization. God is always moving in your favor, even when you can't see it, even when nothing seems to change. The unseen world is alive with divine motion. Every delay is preparation, every setback is alignment, and every closed door is a redirection towards something greater. You are not waiting for favor to find you. You are already the vessel through which it flows. The moment you dare to believe, to imagine, and to feel the fulfillment within, life begins to shift. Circumstances bend, opportunities unfold, and what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. So hold your vision with faith beyond evidence. Walk with quiet confidence that the universe is working on your behalf. Expect the sudden shift. Expect doors to open, relationships to align, and miracles to manifest. The moment you assume your desire as already real, the world begins to conspire for your good, Remember, divine timing is never delay. It is perfect orchestration. Every part of your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust it, rest in it, and know that you are being carried toward something extraordinary. Thank you for sharing this sacred space, for listening with your heart, and for choosing to believe in the unseen. May you walk forward with renewed faith, expanded vision, and unwavering peace, knowing that everything, absolutely everything, is moving in your favor. Thank you, and may your next season be filled with divine surprises and endless grace.